welcome. I'm Mark from United Rock Nations. It's the first time I heard a record from Health.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know just before.
We're brand new. We just started.
Welcome to the club.
So, Rat Wars has just been released a few days. What is the feeling about this new album?
I'm happy that it's out, and it's always gratifying when you get to release a new record and perform new music for people. So I think it's one of the best parts about being in a band.
But this one sounds more heavier than the previous one.
It's by design, yeah.
The one before it was
Pretty heavy, yeah. I
Albums are pretty heavy.
was worried this one was not a. We were just not. We were trying to go heavier, but so I didn't think we actually did. But apparently, people saying we did, so good.
But
Within reason.
What are the reasons why?
It's what our fans want. They just want more dog, more intensity. And it's.
To me, I think it was also not to be like reiterating the same thing, but it's a good time to make a heavy record, man. The world's gone to shit.
Yeah, it feels appropriate. We've just kind of react to the times.
Something to say about it?
No, but just I think we kind of mentioned in the last interview. We'd like to, things to be cathartic in many ways for ourselves, for everyone else. That's kind of our shtick.
Yeah, we always saw all the records as heavy, but I think when people mean heavy, they need to hear dun 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 dun. So like, all right, we'll put more of that in.
So, Jake, I have a question for you. The way you sing reminds me Pet Shop Boys. I don't know if I'm right or not. I don't think it's your main influence, but that's the way it sounds when I hear the way you sing. Tell us more about that.
So it's really interesting. No one has ever said that outside of Europe and the United Kingdom. We put out a record, not the one before this one, but the one before that, where the lyrics and the vocals were much more audible, because in the earliest sort of form of the band, it was kind of almost like shoegaze, like very buried below the surface, and you couldn't really get that much of a sense of it. And every review in the UK was just like, Neil Tennant, Pet Shop Boys, and I was like, damn, I had never thought of that. Now, I love Pet Shop Boys, but I had never thought of it as any influence on how I sing. I think it's just a coincidence.
Yeah, but it's a contrast between the guitars and the way you sing, because there's a lot of difference.
But I mean,
say evil Pet Shop Boys.
but I mean, Pet Shop Boys, there's never anything like in there at all. It's pretty mellow. I think it's just like, he's a high tenor, I'm a high tenor, kind of have this like feminine sound to our voices.
The Three Tenors was actually our backup name.
Yeah. But it's just coincidental. I did not stylize my voice after Pet Shop Boys.
We do really love Pet Shop Boys, though. They also have an album called Disco, too.
That's true.
A lot of weird Pet Shop Boys crossovers. Now, also not intentional. We didn't know that until after.
I mean, I really love Pet Shop Boys, but like, I love like the Pet Shop Boys hits. I'm not like, deep cut. There's a live Pet Shop Boys album.
They actually do have this deep cut stuff.
I think you're a bigger Pet Shop Boys fan.
But Brian is this one that came out in like 2012. And I was like, hey, this is good as fuck, because it was his name Stuart Price produced. That was actually great.
Is that the one that Dawson mixed?
Might have been, actually.
Yeah.
So tell us more about the songwriting process, because when we listen the album, there's a lot of programming, a lot of rhythm, a lot of drums, a lot of guitars. Tell us more how you create all the songs.
Well, I mean, it's very modern in the sense that like, if they're like, it kind of started with the collabs on this record, like on the Nine Inch Nails track, for example. It's like if we have a drum part, we can do something like Beach could start with something on electronic drums, and then it's so easy to send music around. It's like that can be integrated into a demo that John's working on. He could send it to me, and then I can work on vocals. So it's very much like a modern production.
Without rehearsal together.
Yeah.
The pandemic really kind of pushed us that way like everyone else. We had to figure out how to do
Because on the previous album, you used to rehearsal together.
The previous several we've done in a very modern approach, because we use so many electronic elements.
Absolutely.
So it's like the way that we record is like, but even back from the very first record, we would record everything separately. So
Oh.
like there'd be like drum days, and you'd start with the drums. You know what I mean? And then we do like guitar days, and then vocals come last, kind of thing. So we never recorded a record like with a mic in the room, everybody all playing at the same time. We wanted to have the separation.
just occasional like reference parts. Like if I needed something, like Jake would come in and play with me.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't recorded usually. It was just like that was our togetherness.
I guess it's just everything's really, really produced. Because everything's very.
Yes, but you play live, so
That's a bit of translation, yeah.
how you translate the studio work on live?
It's a little challenging. We work it out. What you're doing right now on this tour.
I mean, I think it's it's challenging in that it's time consuming.
Yeah, it's not hard. It's like a little math problem you have to fix.
But it's not like insurmountable, and if it is, usually you just discover that by playing a song live, and if it just doesn't really feel very good, we just kind of don't play
Yeah,
it.
certain songs we just won't play live because they just won't be great.
Like Black Static. Just never worked.
Disaster.
Just didn't work.
Like twice or something. We tried that.
No, like
I was
4 times.
more.
4 times.
And it
But
was
the
like-
song people liked it, and it was just a disaster. It was such a disaster.
Like this one.
We're never gonna play it again.
I like forgot, because you brought that up in that little documentary thing. I hadn't listened to it I completely forgot the chorus of that song. Like I forgot that there was a chorus. In my head it's just like dun dun dun, and then the outro.
That's all I'm thinking of right now.
Yeah.
We played that song. People requested a song. And we finished the song. It was no one clapped. It's very surreal. It's never happened before.
But your song is not a usual song with the chorus, the verse, chorus, verse, bridge. And
No,
then,
they are. I mean, well, all these songs are pretty standard song structures for the most part. Most of them, not all of them, but pretty much, yeah. We're not that pretty conservative these days. First song's pretty proggy.
yes.
Yeah.
Tell us more about the collaborations and the featuring you have on this new album.
Oh, no.
Godflesh and
Oh well, the Godflesh is not a feature; it's a sample. It's like from an existing, one of their most
Yes.
well-known songs, their most well-known song, and we just used it, in a very modern sense, like the way a hip hop track would, or a pop track would just sample something, and then ultimately the label that owns the masters was like, oh, it needs to be a feature, and we were happy to oblige that because we're big fans of the band. And we had already talked to Justin Broderick at Hellfest and asked him hey, could we were actually asking also if we could potentially work together on something in the future, and hopefully that'll still happen. But yeah, so that's not a featuring in the traditional sense.
okay.
It's pretty common in the streaming days for the label or to request you put a feature. So you'll see tons of when a classic song is sampled by a pop artist, now it'll say featuring, who am I thinking? Paul Abdul,
Well, now they just will take the vocal hook and change the lyric, but use the same vocal hook, and then they just pay for it.
Dude, I put on the top song Spotify. It was 10 songs in a row where it's a song you've heard before and they just changed 2 lyrics. I'm like, what
Yeah.
the fuck? The Barbie soundtrack was pretty good, honestly. They did that all day with the Charlie XCX. It's like, hey, Barbie, you're so fine.
Still haven't seen it.
It's actually pretty good.
Usually, you wrote the lyrics before the song, or the lyrics came
Oh, hell no.
came after.
I don't know who the hell even does that.
Joe Strummer.
Bob Dylan and Joe Strummer are the only, I'm trying to think. I might have, at some point had a concept. Hey, I want to write a song about this. But for me, maybe I'm just not musical enough, or I'm too musical. I don't know which one it is. But it's the music needs to inform to me the spacing and how the syllables are going to work. And I've always found that when I think about that Joe Strummer would write at a typewriter, he would write lyrics out, and then Mick Jones would take them and fit them. It just seems so difficult to make it work. I'm sure he was editing out some words, where you hear that Red Hot Chili Peppers Under the Bridge is
That's
just
what
like
I'm
Anthony Kiedis wrote a poem, and then Frusciante just like turned it into this song. I don't know how to do that. So when I write, it's to the music. So like music first, the lyrics are like the last.
And what,
They're not always the last thing, but it's usually vocals come later.
and what are the main topics you talk about on the lyrics?
Ooh. Meaninglessness in the face of inevitable death, and I guess like the sort of managing the pain and grief of existence, but trying to find a way to derive gratification or authenticity or meaning. It's very existential, very French.
Super Camus.
Yeah, very. No, but actually, honestly, like Camus was a huge influence. I studied literature in college, and that was like a focus of me in my life. So like the French literary movement of like Sartre and Camus was like a pretty big effect on me, I think. And just like the directness of it too, like like man's search for meaning in the face of total absurdity. Mm-hmm. So, like, I think it's fairly consistent.
And what is the link between the lyrics and the title of the album, Rat Wars?
So, I think that the through line of this record is that it very much feels like it inhabits we always felt like we were writing music from the first record on. We used films sort of as an aesthetic, like visual backdrop to what we were doing. Mm-hmm. So like Ridley Scott's like Aliens, like the first Alien, it's the future and there's space travel, but everything is grimy and it's all controlled by corporations and it's all for greed. It's not an idyllic utopian future, it's dystopian. And we stayed a band long enough that actually the reality just of life became a dystopian future, and so now it's just like very apropos that we continued making this music. And I think that this record feels sonically and lyrically like it comes from a very bleak place in time, and we just wanted a title that encapsulated that. And I just think that there's something incredibly desperate and off-putting about the words Rat Wars. It just like, it sounds like survival at the basest level, and that's sort of unnerving. So that's why it's
okay. So I would like to talk about some songs.
Sure.
I selected two songs. We like a lot crack metal.
Can't talk about that one.
What do you want to know about crack metal?
Probably because of the heavy guitars, I don't know, but tell us more about that song.
So the big reveal on that is it's not guitars. It's like barely any guitar.
Yeah, it's like 98% no guitars.
Oh,
so
it sounds like guitars.
Well, we're using these plugins that you can use the guitar as the sound input, but then we've removed the guitar sound, so we have the chugging of a guitar, and that is going to a proprietary synth sound that we create. These we call drags. It's not our weird sounds, and so it is a very synthetic guitar sound.
But the main chorus, well, obviously drums are drums. There's not a live bass.
Well, actually, there is. There actually is in the chorus.
Okay.
Yeah, but so I don't know, 95% guitar free. There is one layer of guitar doing chords in the chorus. Get a little more musical information there, but it's like it's a whopper. You can barely hear it. We put there just in case, just for a little more musicality. But
it's like it's like a synthesizer tone that just it's very like
it's
aggressive and
very synthetic,
sharp.
It's crack metal. You know? And obviously, it's pretty obvious that the influences for that song too.
Do you know Rammstein?
Yes.
Okay, so DSM.
DSM-5. Yeah.
Sounds like a little bit Rammstein.
It sounds like
Sorry.
Rammstein.
We're ahead of you on that.
Sounds like Ministry. So
So Ministry or Rammstein?
Good eye,
Who
though,
knows?
for sure.
Who knows?
I'm more of a Ministry fan.
Good ear.
We don't have all the evidence. We don't have all the evidence. We
And
don't
I
know.
think that Ministry came first. But I'm a fan of both bands.
Yes.
No, I think it was just us being comfortable, just trying. Like we were working on it, it's like damn, this sounds like Rammstein / Ministry, and we were like, fuck it.
I went to I went to the Rammstein show in Coliseum. Like, this is fucking tight. So I came back like, we do something like this.
Would you like to have a contribution, musical contribution with Ministry or Rammstein?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
yes,
baby.
Absolutely. Sure. Of course.
Hit me up.
Who would resist?
You know, I just read Al Jorgensen's book, and he I mean, obviously he wants to be edgy as fuck about everything he talks about, but he disavows
Jake really blown his collab already.
all. Yeah, it's okay. No, what I'm saying is, all the records that everyone loves, he's like, I don't like those records. Like, he doesn't like Mine Is a Terrible Thing to Taste. He doesn't like
Okay, that might make the collab a
Psalm
little hard
69.
then.
I think it's because he feels like he wants to move forward, and that's like, it's that thing of like, you know, people want to hear just one fix, and he's like, I'm not in the same place that I was when I wrote that. So I don't know if there was a collab possible. I don't know that he would want to make the kind of song that we would want to make, because I'd be like, oh, let's do some Ministry shit.
Yeah, I mean, like, I listen to a lot of Ministry. Yeah. Love it.
So let's talk about touring. We know that you will play 2 shows in London in December, I think tomorrow and
Tomorrow, indeed.
yes, and the USA in March.
Yep.
But what are your plans to tour in Europe, and of course to see you here in France?
We will be doing a festival run. We're headlining Road Burn.
Yes.
For one of the days, and then we're going to do a full European tour 2024 in the fall.
Yeah. So we'll definitely be playing Paris in the fall.
It's when you don't know.
It's not announced yet, so I don't know
Okay.
the exact date, and I don't know the venue.
I think we'll probably announce it at the top of next year. Just this is a bad time to announce it.
Okay.
Because, you know, it's holidays.
Okay. So thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank
merci.
you.
For,
But yeah, we will definitely be back in Paris.
that's great. Fantastic. A few words, if you want to say something for United Rock Nations.
Oh,
We need the United Rock Nations now more than ever to help rein in the sanity.
That's right. See you at the summit.
Thank you very much.